The US President Donald Trump suggested Friday that it would be premature to give the Ukraine Tomahawk missiles, saying he has hosted the Vladimir Zelensky that he hoped to secure peace with the Russia first. Also, hopefully they won't need it. Hopefully we'll be able to get the war over with without thinking about the Tomahawks. Also, Donald Trump told the reporters at the White House as he sat opposite Zelensky in the cabinet room of the White House. Donald Trump shook hands with the Zelensky, who was also wearing a dark suit and a shirt outside the West Wing, and briefly raised a fist, but neither the leader answered shouted questions. Also, there were the meeting that comes a day after the Donald Trump, who announced a fresh summit with the Russian Vladimir Putin and also cast doubt on giving Kyiv the powerful cruise missiles. Ukraine has been lobbying Washington for the Tomahawks for weeks, arguing that they could help put pressure on the Russia to end its brutal 3.5-year invasion. But on the eve of the Zelensky's visit, Putin warned Donald Trump in a call against delivering the weapons, saying it could escalate the war and jeopardize the peace talks. Donald Trump also questioned whether he would grant the Ukraine's wish, saying Washington could not deplete its own supplies of Tomahawks. Trump and Putin agreed to a new summit in the Hungarian capital Budapest, which would be their first since an August meeting in the Alaska that failed to produce any kind of peace deal. Many questions. Diplomatic talks on ending the Russian invasion have stalled since the Alaska summit. Ukraine had hoped that Zelensky's trip would add more pressure on the Putin, especially by a range of over 1,600 kilometers, that is 1,000 miles. But Donald Trump, who once said that he could end the war in the Ukraine within 24 hours, appears set on pursuing a new diplomatic breakthrough to follow the Gaza ceasefire deal that he brokered last week. The Kremlin said that the Friday that many questions needed resolving before the Putin and the Donald Trump could meet, including who would be on the each negotiating team. But it appeared to brush off suggestions Putin would have difficulty flying over the European airspace. Hungary said that the Friday it would ensure Putin could enter and hold successful talks with the US despite an international criminal court, that is ICC, arrest warrant against him for the alleged war crimes. Budapest is the only suitable place in the Europe for a USA-Russia peace summit, the Hungarian President Viktor Orban said on the X on the Friday. Trump's frustration. The Zelensky's visit to the Washington, Ukraine's main military backer, will also be his third since the Donald Trump returned to the office. During this time, the Trump's position on the Ukraine war has shifted dramatically back and forth. At the very start of his term, the Donald Trump and the Putin reached out to each other as the US leader derided the Zelensky as a dictator without elections. Tensions came to a head in the February when the Donald Trump accused his Ukrainian counterpart of not having the cards in a bombshell televised meeting at the Oval Office. Relations between the two have since warmed as the Donald Trump has expressed growing frustration with the Putin, but the Donald Trump has kept a channel of dialogue open with the Putin, saying that they get along. Also, the US leader has repeatedly changed his position on the sanctions and other steps against Russia following calls with the Russian president. Putin also ordered a full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, describing it as a special military operation to demilitarize the country and prevent the expansion of NATO. Kyiv and its European allies also say that the war is an illegal land grab that has resulted in tens of thousands of civilians and the military casualties and widespread destruction. Russia now occupies around a fifth of the Ukrainian territory, much of it ravaged by the fighting. On the Friday, the Russian Defense Ministry announced that it had captured 3 villages in the Ukraine's Dnipropetrovsk and the Kharkiv region.